Hello everyone, welcome to Advanced Knowledge Systems and a warm welcome to AKS IAS Academy, and it provides examination coaching for UPSC CSE, State Public Service Commission, SSC Combined Graduate Level and CLAT examinations. And about me, I'm Sandeep Bhushan Thumala, and I take up the analysis of the Hindu newspaper, that is the DNA of the Hindu of today's, that is 13th of April 2021. And throughout my session, I would be emphasizing on the keywords and the key phrases from the Hindu newspaper, wherein we will try to identify the factual, analytical and conceptual questions which are critical for UPSC prelims perspective. And while you get into the mode of imbibing the keywords and the key phrases for your mains examinations, your answers for the mains examination would be precise and concise, and thereby you would score higher marks in the mains examinations. And this session at AKS IAS Academy Daily News Analysis will certainly help you to crack both prelims and mains for the year 2021. And before we get into the DNA of the newspaper, we would be focusing at the quote of the day. And the quote of the day says that success doesn't just find you. You have to go out and get it. So it is your duty to make sure that you attain your short-term and long-term goals so that you would get into the mode of success. And now we look into the analysis of the newspaper, that is the DNA of the newspaper. And here it is the panel has approved the Russia's vaccine, that is Sputnik 5 or Sputnik V. And the panel which has been recommended for the emergency youth authorization in India for the Sputnik 5 is the subject expert committee. So this is a keyword which we need to look into, that which among the following has recommended the Russia's COVID-19 vaccine Sputnik 5 for the emergency use authorization in India is the subject expert committee. And this has now recommended, and these recommendations have to be approved by the DCGI. That is, it has to be approved. That is, the Sputnik 5 vaccine, COVID-19 vaccine, has to be approved by the Drug Controller General of India. And therefore, this would be coming into the action along with the existing two. That is, the Sputnik 5 would be the third vaccine to be made available in India after Covishield and the Covaxin. So definitely now the Sputnik 5 would be the third one, or the vaccine Sputnik V. And now if you look at the earlier Covishield is from the Serum Institute of India, and the Covaxin, which is now already in place in India, is by the Bharat Biotech. And the third one, if approved by the Drug Controller General of India and recommended by the subject expert committee for the emergency use authorization in India, then Sputnik V would be the third vaccine which would be made available in India. And if you look at the Sputnik V, that is the Dr. Reddy's lab was into the conducting a trial on the Sputnik V's in regards to the suitability of the vaccine in India, and in turn Dr. Reddy's lab has applied for the emergency use authorization on February 19, 2021. So this is very clear. After Dr. Reddy's lab has applied for the emergency use authorization on February 19, the subject expert committee has recommended for the emergency use authorization, and it would be approved by the Drug Controller General of India. So look at it. First is the applying for the emergency use of authorization, and the second stage is that the subject expert committee would be recommending, and the third one is the approval by the Drug Controller of General of India for the Sputnik V for emergency use authorization in India. So these are the stages which we need to focus, and the already existing vaccine is the Covishield and Covaxin, and if approved by the Drug Controller General of India, it would be the third vaccine, that is Sputnik V would be the third vaccine which would be made available in India. And now we will look at about Sputnik V. So definitely if we look at Sputnik V, it is been developed by Russia's Gamaleya Research Institute of Epidemiology and Microbiology. So it is the vaccine has been developed by Russia's Gamaleya Research Institute of Epidemiology and Microbiology, and it claims that it has an efficacy of 90%. If you compare with the efficacy of Covaxin and Covishield, then Sputnik V has the more efficacy of over 90%, and Sputnik V has been produced by the Russian Direct Investment Fund, that is RDIF, and it has the international partners with countries like India, Brazil, China, South Korea, and various other countries. And in India, in regards to the Sputnik V vaccine, Dr. Reddy's will market the vaccine, that is Sputnik V, in India, and the Russian Direct Investment Fund has tied up with other companies also, that is in regards to the Hetero Biopharma, Gland Pharma, Stellus Biopharma, Virtue Biotech, and this tied up with RDIF with the Indian companies is to produce 850 million doses in the country for the year 2021, and the cost of the vaccine in the international market, that is in regards to the Sputnik V, is less than $10. That is, you will have $10 which will have or comprises of 2-dose vaccine, and this Sputnik V vaccine is a freeze dried form, so it is a powder form. It is a powder form, which is, when you compare it with Covishield and Covaxin, they are jabs, and this is a freezed dried form, which is a powder, and this can be stored at a temperature of +2 to +8 degrees Celsius, so that this can be easily distributed worldwide. So this is the one which is now at the juncture when the entire country, we are experiencing the spike in the COVID cases, that is in regards to the COVID-19 SARS-CoV-2 virus, when there is spike. So definitely the recommendation by the subject expert committee, and if approved by the Director Controller General of India, for the Sputnik V, which would be the third vaccine, is definitely an important step forward to vaccinate the entire country or maximum people, so that we can make sure that we are successfully overcoming the second, third, and fourth spikes in India across various states in the country. So we have looked at the Sputnik V, and there is another news in regards to the INS Virat. So definitely INS Virat has been decommissioned, and when it has been decommissioned, a petition was filed that INS Virat has to be converted into a museum or a maritime museum. But when the petitioner has filed in the Supreme Court, so the Supreme Court has dismissed the plea to convert the INS Virat into a museum, and the INS Virat dismantling, that is, which is by the Navy's decommissioned aircraft, which is the INS Virat. Now the Supreme Court says that it is refusing to intervene on behalf of the private firm, which the private firm wanted to turn the INS Virat into a maritime museum cum adventure center. So look at it now, the Supreme Court is very clearly saying that it is refusing to intervene into the shipbreaking or decommissioning of the aircraft, that is INS Virat. We will look at why the Supreme Court is now refusing to intervene, because the Chief Justice of India, Sharad Bobde, has said that an ex-company has already paid money for the ship to be decommissioned, that is INS Virat, and the ship has been sold to a shipbreaker called as Shri Ram Group in Gujarat. So when the entire deal has been taken up already and the amount is already paid for the ship to be sold, and to be sold to a shipbreaker called as Shri Ram Group. So this is the keyword wherein the INS Virat has been sold to a shipbreaker called as Shri Ram Group in Gujarat, and therefore the Supreme Court has refused to intervene that the vessel should be turned into a maritime museum cum Adventure Center. And it was on February 10, the court had ordered a stay on the process of dismantling the ship, that is decommissioning the ship, which was at Alang Yard in Gujarat. So there was a process of dismantling the ship, but the court has ordered a stay. But after a repeated process, the Supreme Court has said that now it cannot refuse, or it cannot go ahead with refusing to dismantle the ship, because amount has been paid to the company, or to the shipbreaker company, that is to the Shriram Group. And it is the INS Virat is a 67-year-old iconic warship, and the INS Virat has served the nation for 3 decades in the service for the Indian Army. So if you look at this one, it is INS Virat, and now if you look at it is at Alang Yard in Gujarat, wherein we can see that a part of is dismantled, and that was, the court has ordered a stay on February 10th. But if you look at the recent, now today's news, the Supreme Court has refused to intervene that the decommissioning of the or dismantling of the aircraft carrier INS Virat cannot be taken up, and the vessel, that is INS Virat, cannot be turned into a maritime museum cum adventure center. So definitely now it is very clear that INS Virat is bound to be dismantled, which has served the country for 3 decades in the Indian Navy, and it is 67-year-old iconic airship carrier or a warship. And it has been at a yard called as dismantling at a yard called as Alang Yard in Gujarat. So this is again crucial for prelims perspective. And the Supreme Court verdict is now that it wouldn't refuse to intervene. And if you look at the another news is that the Chief Election Commissioner has been appointed, and the incumbent Chief Election Commissioner, that is Sunil Arora, whose tenure has ended on April 12, 2021. Now, because of his tenure, which has been ended on April 12, 2021, President Ramnath Kovind has appointed the Election Commissioner Sushil Chandra as the next Chief Election Commissioner. And not only the President Ramnath Kovind has appointed Sushil Chandra as the Chief Election Commissioner, but the Law Ministry has also said that the President has appointed Sushil Chandra, who is the senior most election commissioner, as the next Chief Election Commissioner of India in the Election Commission of India. So definitely it is the, if you look at what we need to focus is the keywords, the persons involved, that is President appointing, and the Law Ministry also talking about that the President has appointed Sushil Chandra, who is the senior most election commissioner, as the next Chief Election Commissioner, because Sunil Arora's tenure, incumbent Chief Election Commission, has ended on April 12, 2021. And Mr. Chandra would assume the charge as the Chief Election Commissioner of India on April 13, 2021. And if you look at, a notification was issued in regards to the assuming of charges by Sushil Chandra as the Chief Election Commissioner, was issued by the Legislative Department on April 12, 2021. So please do understand the keywords which I was focusing, that is the President and then the Law Ministry. And if you look at the notification is from the Legislative Department. So these are the 3 keywords which you need to focus in regards to the appointment and the notification for the Chief Election Commissioner to be appointed. So it is the Law Ministry which has said that the President has appointed, and the Legislative Department has issued a notification that assuming of charges by Sushil Chandra to be as the Chief Election Commissioner would be effective from April 12, 2021, and he would assume charge on April 13, 2021. And if we look at Sushil Chandra, he has been into different roles, and he has also been as an election commissioner on February 2019. And prior to that, he was also as a chairman of the CBDT, that is Central Board of Direct Taxes. So he has worked as the chairman of the Central Board of Direct Taxes, and after that he has been appointed as an election commissioner, and he is a 1980 IRS batch IRS officer, and he has also worked in the areas of international taxation and investigation. So these are the key points which you need to focus for the prelims UPSC perspective in regards to the current affairs, and especially focusing in regards to the Chief Election Commission. Who is now the Chief Election Commissioner is that Sushil Chandra, and the incumbent Chief Election Commissioner was or is Sunil Arora. And now we will look at an Pakistan human rights icon, that is I.A. Rahman, that is Ibn Abdur Rahman, has passed away in Lahore on April 12, 2021 at an age of 20, and is considered as the crusader of Pakistan human rights, and is a former journalist. And he has, as a crusader and a former journalist, he was bold enough, that is Ibn Abdur Rahman was bold. He has taken a bold stand in various instances, that is in regards to the atrocities by the Pakistani forces in East Pakistan, that is in the year 1971. After that, it is now called as Bangladesh. And he was also against the martial law under General Ziaul Haq, and he has stood bold against the emergency which has been imposed by General Pervez Musharraf, and he was bold enough to fight for several causes, including the minority rights and the excesses used by the security forces. So these are the areas wherein he has taken a bold stand, and he has been called as a crusader of the Pakistan human rights. And if you look at, or if you focus about Mr. Ibn Abdur Rahman in regards to the current affairs, Mr. Rahman was born in Haryana, and he has studied at Aligarh Muslim University, and just before moving with his family to Pakistan, and he has moved back to Pakistan with his family on the wake or because of the violence during the partition of India and Pakistan. And then if you look at, he has been as a journalist, he has taken up journalist, and he was as the chief editor of Pakistan Times in the year 1989, and he has also served as the director of Human Rights Commission of Pakistan from 1990 to 2008, and he has also served as the Secretary General of the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan from 2008 to 2016, and he has been called as the Titan of Human Rights because of his conscience and compassion which were unparalleled. That is why he was called as Titan of Human Rights. And he has also won the Raman Magsaysay Award for Peace and International Understanding in the year 2004. And he was given this award for fostering India-Pakistan relations. And Mr. Rahman has took up strongly against the case. One of the case which he has fought very strongly was against Amit Ansari, who was 33-year-old, who was a software engineer, Indian, who had traveled to Pakistan in the year 2012 to try and meet a girl whom he had met. That is Amit Ansari, who has met a girl on the online, who was a software engineer, has traveled to Pakistan in the year 2012, but he was later arrested by the Pakistani police and army as an Indian spy. And in turn, it was Mr. Rahman who has helped the family of Amit Ansari, and Amit Ansari was released in the year 2018. So definitely he was a crusader of the human rights in Pakistan. So definitely, if you look at, as he was fostering the India-Pakistan relations, he has taken up a case which was in regards to the Amit Ansari, who has traveled to Pakistan in the year 2012 to meet a girl whom he had met online, but he was arrested as an Indian spy. But later on, as Mr. Rahman has fought for the human rights of Amit Ansari, he was released in the year 2018. So these are the key points which we need to focus for the current affairs of UPSC prelims perspective, because it is in regards to the India-Pakistan relationship, and during the process wherein both India and Pakistan have strongly agreed to go ahead with the ceasefire, to make sure that they abide by the ceasefire agreement of 2003, ceasefire agreement of 2003. Both India and Pakistan have gone ahead with agreeing or making sure that they abide by the ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan 2003. So on behalf of this, on the background of this India-Pakistan as international relations concept or a topic, there could be a prelims question as part of the current affairs in regards to the crusader and Pakistani human rights icon Ibn Abdur Rahman. So these are the points which you need to focus for prelims perspective. And if you look at the another news is in regards to the retail inflation, and retail inflation has gone up to 5.52, and this is, we will look at as per the data of the National Statistical Office, which has released the data on April 12, 2021, said that the India's industrial output has fell for the second successive month. That means it was in the month of January 2021 and February 2021, and that is industrial output has been contracted to 3.6% year on year. So this is as per the data released by the National Statistical Office, saying that the India's industrial output has fell for the second successive month in February 2021. And as per the Index of Industrial Production, that is IIP. So this is, now we are focused in regards to the data released by National Statistical Office. Now we would be focusing in regards to the, as per the data of IIP, that is Index of Industrial Production. So as per the IIP, it is the only one sector, that is electricity sector, which has registered the positive growth, which is just a meager of 0.1%. Apart from the sector, that is electricity sector, all the other sectors have been shrunk. That is, you have 8 core sectors, and the other sectors, that is manufacturing and mining, has slipped, or it has shrunk to 3.7% and 5.5% respectively in regards to the manufacturing and mining. So this is as per the data of Index of Industrial Production. So we have looked at the data in regards to the National Statistical Office, and also as per the IIP, which is in regards to the industrial output, which it has fell or shrunk for the second successive month in February 2021. And if you look at, now we will focus at the other keywords, that is retail inflation, consumer food price index, core inflation, and about Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex. So these are the 4 areas which we'll be focusing. And now the first one is the index, or India's retail inflation has gone up to 5.52% in the month of March 2021, but when we compare it in the month of February, it was just 5.03%. That means retail inflation has increased in India compared to the month of February to March, from 5.03% to 5.52%. And if you look at the retail inflation in the urban areas, it is as high as 6.52%. If you look at inflation, what India or the RBI, that is the Monetary Policy Committee, has kept it unchanged, that is at 4% with +2 or -2. That is in regards to the 2% or 6%. But if you look at the urban areas, retail inflation has touched to 6.52%, and that is the cause of concern. And if you look at the second one, that is the consumer food price index has gone up to 4.94%, which is as equivalent to 5% to or from 3.87% from February. And if you look at the urban India consumer food price index has gone up to 6.64%, and this is the food inflation. So if you look at the retail inflation in urban areas is 6.52%, and the food inflation in the urban areas is 6.64%. And the third one is the core inflation. So now if we focus at the core inflation, that is the core inflation has jumped to the 29-month high to 5.96% in the month of March 2021, which the previous year, that was in the month of March 2020, the core inflation was 3.95%. And if you look at February 2021, it was 5.88%. And this jump in the core inflation, which is a 29-month high, is because of the demand and increase of commodity prices. And definitely this is a cause of concern in regards to the retail inflation, consumer price index, core inflation, and that has also impacted on the fourth one, that is the Bombay Stock Exchange Sensex also. So we are focused at the retail inflation, consumer price, food price index, core inflation, and now we will be focusing at the Sensex, that is the Bombay Stock Exchange. And this has tanked, or it has fallen to almost 1708 points, which is as equivalent to 3.44 or 3.5% of the entire Bombay Stock Exchange. And this because of the fear of fresh pandemic effects. And not only the Sensex has been fallen to 3.44%, but the rupee has now hit a mark of 75 against the dollar on April 12, 2021. So this is not just the Sensex has been stumbled, but even the rupee value has decreased, which is now equivalent to 75 rupees to against a dollar. So these are because of the fear of fresh pandemic effects. Because of that, we could see retail inflation accelerating, consumer food price index hardened, that is food inflation, core inflation, that is in regards to the demand and increase of the commodity prices, have been jumped to 29-month high, and the Bombay Stock Exchange and the rupee value has been affected because of the fear of fresh pandemic effects. So these are the areas which we need to focus from economy perspective, which would be very, very crucial in regards to the prelims, and also the conceptual understanding about the National Statistical Office, industrial output, index of industrial production, and also retail inflation, consumer price index, core inflation, and about the rupee value also. So I hope this session was informative, knowledgeable one, and also very critical for UPSC prelims as well as mains perspective. So I would say a very big thank you and a good luck to you all. Do maintain consistency, stick to your schedule, and take care of your physical health and mental health. And do not forget to like the video, share the video, and subscribe the AKS IAS Academy English Medium YouTube channel, and also have access to the website and Telegram link of AKS IAS Academy. And see you again tomorrow with the daily news analysis at AKS IAS Academy, that is Advanced Knowledge System. Till then, thank you, goodbye, and then take care.